What in the world? I am still so stressed out. My heart, I'm telling you, my heart rate, it just can't handle this.
I got a text.
cannot handle this
Joe,
anymore.
I got a text midway through that last drive from Sam Houston State from Emily, and all it said was, "This is terrifying." That's all it said, and that pretty much sums up the night, you know?
The Flames survive Sam Houston. I don't mean to steal your stat here, Matt, but 8 plays inside the 15.
Come on.
8 inside the 15-yard line.
Red smoke is what they're calling the defense. Kobe Singleton said after the game, we call ourselves red smoke.
The red smoke don't play, baby.
No.
I mean, the Reds, that was stressful. I was watching that game and I was going, I like to see a good football game.
Right.
Because what did Yak Talk say before? He
That
said,
it was midweek on the midweek madness
it was madness.
madness.
But I also said this Sam Houston State team is underrated, and I gave a closer score in my score prediction of 24-21. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, we will.
We'll get to that later. But that this team was better than ever. And I watched again. I said, you know what? A midweek game. Let's just have a good game. Right?
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was going to be that good.
Yeah,
That
was
15
crazy.
play, 96-yard drive. 15. And it came up
my
that
God.
close.
Pat Kelly said it best on the postgame
Yeah.
show. That was the greatest bend but don't break defense that you could possibly.
You couldn't have
You
bent it
can't
anymore.
bend that thing.
Okay,
The
so-
fibers were crumbling.
Yes.
Did you rewatch the play like in slow motion? They posted on the Liberty Twitter. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, I will show you how Kobe Singleton got his hand up in that pass where the ball, perfect spiral, and then you see
Beautiful
it
throw.
deflect. It really
Kobe
was a
played
great
it
play. Yeah.
as well as you possibly could. Hand inside the receiver.
Just inside. So the ball's
Just got
coming,
enough.
the ball's
I saw
coming
it.
like this,
Yeah. No,
and
I
then it
saw
like
it.
deflects up a little bit because Kobe Singleton got his hand on it. Almost had an interception on the other
A
side
couple
of the
plays
end zone.
prior
Yeah.
on the other side of the end zone. And
I mean, you said it best. Kobe Singleton
Dog.
is a dog.
he's a dog.
D
Yeah.
to the A to the W to the G. Ain't nothing but a dog, baby.
All right, so you know how ESPN does their, it's basically like game predictor, like flows like with the game, like with the chances of winning, right? Win probability. So
I love the
according
win
to
probability.
ESPN,
And did it look drunk?
a little bit there at the end, at the 6:22 mark of the fourth quarter, Liberty had the football with a 90.8% chance to win. Swing that the other way, Sam Houston had it, second goal from the Liberty 3, and they had a 62.5% chance to
Oh,
win.
I thought it'd be higher
So
than
it
that.
swung
I thought it'd be
I
higher
thought
than
it was
that,
would be too, but swung all the way back, and then obviously Liberty held on. But like,
It
I don't know, you're
was-
looking at when they got that first down to the 3, I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
There's no way.
there's just, I mean, to 4 more times? Can you do it 4 more times? Now, you were helped by the fact that they couldn't or didn't feel like they could run the ball in that situation
Yes.
because of the
They didn't have
clock
any
and no
timeouts.
timeouts. So you kind of knew that. And even Jamie Chadwell said they basically moved Singleton around to wherever they
Right.
thought this is going to be the guy they're going to. We're just going to follow him around with Singleton, their best defensive back. But he saved that ball game. Like, he saved the
ball
Flames
game.
bacon down the stretch.
So after the game, Coach Chadwell said he's probably the most competitive corner I've ever been around. Everything is a competition for him. He shows how much he's matured, too, because remember he got that PI.
Which
so
was, what do you think about that PI
It was
call?
a terrible call.
Not only that,
it was a terrible.
I got the stopwatch out. It was a full 3 seconds after
It was
the
a
ball
terrible
hit the
call.
ground.
And it
He
was
had
a good-
time to celebrate. He went to like the sword, and then it's like, boo, here comes this flag
Well,
from way behind the
When
play.
you look at the replay, okay, could you argue that it was pass interference? Yeah,
There's a little hand fighting
there's
going
hand
on.
fighting going on, right?
Sure.
But the part that gets me on these refs, like from a pass interference call,
Yeah.
is like, let's apply some football knowledge, common sense to the equation. And that common sense is, if he wasn't interfering, was there any chance, or hand grabbing, whatever you want to call it, is there any chance the football would have been caught?
No, it was
There
well
is a
behind.
zero
It was
chance.
way
the
behind
ball
the
was
receiver.
5
Yeah.
yards off.
Right.
Like, there was
Yeah.
no chance whether he grabbed him or not, that was going to be pass
You could make the
interference.
case there was not a lot of common sense from that crew in general.
Well,
it was
well,
a
There was
rough
another
night.
pass
It was a
interference
rough
that was
night.
yeah, we're going to
Yeah.
discuss all of that. Common sense
Yeah.
is no longer common. We all know
Yes.
that. We
Yeah.
have obviously a lot to unwind on
Yeah.
this. Bonus Flame
Bonus
Central
podcast.
podcast. So,
wait.
Here we go. We're so
Powered-
excited.
It is
Thank you.
powered
Long
by
there before we got
Alcova
there.
Mortgage. It has been long, but I knew we were going to get off track. We're going to try to stay focused here,
Powered.
which is going to be difficult, as you've just seen in the open. So much to unwind. Kobe. Injuries, the offense, a lot of questions there. We'll preview Jack State, quick turnaround.
Yeah. It's gonna be tough.
A lot to unwind. So we'll try to stay as focused as
time to
possible.
celebrate.
I do want to call out Matt Warner because we're on a group.
call out.
No. This is a
That's my
compliment.
pal.
Oh, shout out.
Because
Oh,
shout
you
out.
wanna-
Sorry.
okay,
Well,
call out
I
and
was
a
like,
shout out.
I got real.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, whatever. Well, I am going to call out Joe Yock here in a
Of
second.
course you are.
Matt Warner at 9:54 p.m. said defense has to win this. And this is before, I think, that last offensive drive where Kane Salter was, whether
Went the
that's a
wrong
late
way
hit,
and-
we'll get to that in
yeah,
just a
well,
moment.
yeah.
But I just want to give you a shout out.
Oh,
You
thank you.
did say the defense has to win this,
You know what?
and
I mean,
they
it
surely did.
It was just, as ugly an offensive performance as we've seen this year, that second half. And a lot played into it. A lot
they were shut
factors
out.
into it. Yeah, they shut out in the second half.
Yeah.
A lot factored into that, injuries and the like, and I'm sure we'll get into that. But, you kind of saw there was no rhythm. There was not, other than
They were
CJ
not-
Daniels downfield,
Yeah.
there wasn't a lot happening.
Yeah, they were not the Jamaican bobsled team. I'll tell you right now. No
Did you
rhythm,
hear-
no
No rhythm, no
rhyme.
rhyme.
I don't know the rest of it, but it's
No,
good.
no.
Did you hear the first thing that Chadwell said after the game
No.
in his press
What did he
conference?
say?
He goes, "There's no ugly babies. If you have a baby, you love it."
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Saying,
It's like-
"Hey,
right.
this
Do they-
is not a
Remember
pretty
that
win."
Seinfeld?
Yeah. Do they give style points? They do not.
They
It's
do
just a
not.
win or a loss.
Yeah, they
found a
wouldn't
way.
have that many style points. Okay, so let's start with that last play that Kobe Singleton, won the game for the Flames. But just that last drive in general, what do you think allowed Sam Houston to just truck down the field so quickly?
I mean, they made plays.
they did.
I mean, they hit the slant.
That
coming out of the
first play,
soup.
that's what it
Yeah,
was.
They come out of the soup, they hit the slant.
First off, and special teams obviously had a roller coaster night. The 2 missed field goals you cannot have. This
Yeah.
game
That
felt a
game-
lot differently
yeah.
if you get one of those.
I mean,
But
those weren't even close.
Credit Max Morgan, the punter, delivering clutch moment, pins him at the 1.
Attaboy, Max.
And you think
That
like,
was
okay,
beautiful.
you're thinking at the time, that might be the
Yeah.
play of the game.
Yeah, that's right.
But then it's that first play of the drive where they hit the slant, they get out to like the 25,
20,
and
yeah.
suddenly, whew, all right,
Yeah, we got
now you're
breathing
feeling
room,
it. Now you
right.
got breathing room. Now you've got some rhythm. Now you're feeling like we can do this thing, and that changed the whole complexion of that drive.
Yeah. No, I think one of the to me the deep breath play of that drive was when they had the back out in the flat,
Yes.
completely uncovered,
And he ran him out of
and
bounds
he would
with
have
the pass,
walked in to the end zone,
Yeah.
and he ran him out of bounds. That was a walk in. There
Yeah.
was nobody. I don't know if they blew the coverage or what happened, but there was
Yeah.
nobody there, and he ran him out.
That
of
would have
bounds.
allowed
That
the Flames
was-
some time
No.
offensively,
Well,
though.
and that-
I got a little
that-
bit. I don't. We're pro liberty here also,
Right.
but we also got to.
We're objective as we
We're
can,
objective,
yeah.
analyze things. Coach Chadwell, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong here, maybe there was a minute 8 in the game when they were down like on the 8-yard line, something like that, and that was one of those situations where the clock for Sam Houston was no longer a factor.
Right.
Because they had 4 plays, they had a minute 8 left, right? And so it's not like, yeah, maybe you might be able to run the ball one time, but you're going to get all 4 of those plays in a minute 8.
Yeah.
At that point, if I'm Coach Chadwell, I got to say, hey, if they score on the next down,
Yeah.
right, I got to leave myself some time. And he had 1 timeout left, and he didn't use it. And he let that clock get all the way down to basically the last play. So if you
And then took the timeout.
well, exactly. But if you use that timeout, and let's say there's a minute 3 left, whatever it was,
Yeah.
and they score on the next play, now
You're in
you've
trouble.
you've got a chance.
Well, you got a chance. You
A
leave
minute
yourself-
left.
yeah,
You got a chance to
you're-
come
okay,
back.
okay,
and score.
yeah.
If you don't use a timeout,
Then-
it's down. Like
That's
you're
it.
ending it right now, right?
And that's what I'm doing the same thing as I'm watching it. You play the game of, oh, good, keep that clock running, keep it running too. Oh, maybe you don't want it to
Yeah.
run
Right.
because now you're thinking.
There comes
there's
a
that balance.
point as a coach from a clock management standpoint where you realize the clock's no longer a factor for the opposing team.
Right.
So once they got the ball to the 8-yard line with 1:08 left, they knew, all right, we got 4 plays. We're not, we can, we may have to throw it 3 of the 4.
Yeah.
But we're going to get all 4 plays.
And I think it was the pass to the tight end where it's like he got hit and knocked out of bounds, but the official said no, his forward momentum was stopped before he went out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's that classic one where it's like, well, it looked like he went out. But no, keep the clock moving.
Yeah.
He was basically hit. His momentum was stopped inbounds first, and then he was driven out. And so, you're exactly right. That was the play where I thought the same thing, like, maybe you want to save
don't want to
time
run this
here.
thing down. Now,
But
it worked out.
It worked out.
It worked out,
But still,
yeah.
you don't know at the time.
Well, I'll go back to,
Well,
you
if
mentioned.
it didn't, then the question would be,
You'd be hammering them right now.
Right.
Like, if they would have scored with, they run the clock down, you only leave yourself 30-some seconds left there. They're scoring the second,
That would
whatever
be-
it was.
yeah.
And I'll even think, too, like you mentioned the timeout they did use before that final play. That's a strategy that you can go back and forth on as well.
Right.
I'm always the guy kind of in like basketball situations where, like, if you've got a team on the ropes and they're like the pressure's on them, typically I don't like giving them an opportunity to regroup. But obviously it worked out
I
here.
felt that was the right call.
Did you think it was the right call?
Really?
I think
Okay,
taking
that
that
was
time
one of
out
my
was the right
questions.
call because, the defense needed to be
They've been out
settled.
there a long time.
Yeah, they've been out there a long time, and that's a situation where their Liberty's feeling the pressure more so than Sam Houston. They're
they
Liberty's
had, like,
undefeated.
18
They're going
seconds
forward.
left.
They're
Yeah.
on the offensive side,
Well-
and they're like, they've driven the ball down to the 2-yard line, whatever. I've got no problem with saying, okay, let's call timeout. Let's
The
regroup.
other thing I like about that,
Pull it together.
what I do like about Liberty calling that timeout, to me it says, we think the guys on our coaching staff on this sideline are better than the guys on that sideline. Because if you're worried about what they're doing over there, and you think, boy, that coaching staff, like, I don't
You're
know.
gonna give
You're
time to
giving them
scheme
an
it up.
opportunity to
Yeah,
scheme it up.
yeah.
But it shows confidence
Yeah.
in Coach Krantz and Coach McGee and all
Yeah.
these guys on the defensive side saying, like, you know what? I trust our guys enough. All right, we'll each step over here and we'll scheme up what we do best, and I trust our guys to come up with something to stop.
Let me can I do one
Yeah,
little shout
go
out?
ahead.
Let me get a little shout out. And I thought about this last night. The guy who doesn't get a lot of credit and the guy who spends more time with the players than anybody is Chad Scott. So you look at the strength conditioning program. This is when you build into these guys. Like, you're going to face tough moments.
Yeah.
We're going to put you through tough times. You're going to face tough moments. And what is your reaction to be in
This
tough
was
times
it.
and
Yeah.
tough moments? And you could tell that there wasn't that oh no mentality.
No.
When you looked out, like I was standing the back end zone area
Yeah.
there, when you looked at their body language, this wasn't the body language of like, oh no,
Panic.
what's
No.
happening?
No,
It was like,
yeah.
let's go. And that takes time and that takes effort, and that's a credit to not just Chad, the entire Adrian Dunn, the entire strength and conditioning team to be able to get those guys prepared mentally for a moment.
And
like
to that point, I know when the offense was really struggling, it was at one point in that fourth quarter, one of the last drives, where offense floundered again. Defense has to come out. And Quentin Reese, one of those guys, it's like not an, oh man, pressure's on us,
Yeah.
but we're dying to get out there and be the ones
Yeah.
to
Right.
decide this.
Yeah.
They wanted to be on the field in that moment.
Yeah, it's exciting. And Coach Chadwell said after the game, if you want to be a championship program, you have to be in close games and you have to
Sometimes
come
you
out
gotta
on
win
top.
ugly.
So,
Yeah, win ugly.
Win ugly. All right. Can't have an ugly baby. So what do you say?
Well,
We'll
I don't
see.
know. If it's your baby.
Do you
yeah.
remember that Seinfeld
Yeah, I
episode
remember
when
that.
Kramer went to go
Yeah,
through the
yeah,
baby?
yeah.
Whoa!
yeah.
So the timeout, or it wasn't a timeout, but the refs.
That was bizarre.
That was very
Wait, what are
strange.
you talking
So
At the
final
very
drive
end-
Yeah.
where it was a catch on the sideline. It may have been the one to the running back. And then the officials kind of, they stopped the
They
clock.
basically
That's
gave
right.
him.
The two teams
they gave
go
him
to
a
the sidelines,
timeout.
and then they're like, just kidding, just kidding.
Yeah,
Everybody
what was
come
that?
back.
Chadwell.
I don't know.
The entire game, I was
Chadwell
like
was fired
just
up.
watching Chadwell. He was furious.
Chadwell said
at
after
these
the game,
refs.
he was asked about that. They're like, what did they say to you? How'd they explain that? And he's like,
I forgot what they said.
I don't even remember. I think I was yelling
He
at them
got
so much.
fired up at one point because they got to delay a game.
I'm going to get into
kinda
that too,
thing.
because
And
we'll
I
talk
didn't know
about that.
then he had to call timeout after that.
But I think what happened on that was the officials were like, was that guy inbounds when he made it? There was some question of like, do we need to review this?
Yeah.
And then they're like, no.
Oh, yeah.
But by that point, they'd stopped the clock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of like, and it was just chaos. But then, like, they make no announcement. Even the announcers, I went back and watched this morning, and they're like, why aren't they telling? They didn't say what happened. Why?
Right.
What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
nobody knew.
Yeah.
But it was basically a fourth timeout.
It's just
Right.
chaos.
For Sam
For Sam
Houston.
Houston.
Chaos, baby.
Absolute
It's the
chaos.
end of the game. It's chaos. These things
Chaos.
happen.
Absolute
Well-
So it
chaos.
makes it, that's why
Yeah.
I tried to say, you guys kept correcting me. Midweek on the mountain, midweek on the mountain. And I tried to throw mayhem in there. I tried to say
You
it's
did. You did.
mayhem midweek.
Madness.
And that's exactly
Okay.
what we got.
You did try.
All right, well, you and your ideas need a little sharpening. But yeah, Coach Chadwell also said we're still growing. We have young players. When we see things and need to make adjustments, they're still learning
sure.
on the fly with younger guys. So we will see. Okay, so we're also going to preview Jack State here in just a little bit. But I want to go back to that last offensive drive for the Flames. Kane Salter goes out of bounds. Looks like he got hit. I was on the opposite side of the field.
No.
It looked like he got hit late.
No.
Yes or no?
No.
No?
No.
Well, I know that girl standing behind him got hit late.
Yeah.
She got trucked because
He drove, he got him and was riding him out, and he rode him a little too far, but he didn't finish it, right? It wasn't like when you're in a situation like that, with that on the line, I think you can't have an unnecessary roughness call like that.
It would have ended the game.
It would, unless it was really, really bad. The refs you don't want to end a game like that.
Yeah.
And if he would have dumped him and potentially could have hurt him, then I would say, okay, yes, you got to protect. But he didn't dump him, right?
No, I think
he just rode him too far.
It was made to look worse
And it was a
because
quarterback,
of the
too.
girl behind him that got blown up.
I didn't see that.
So there's a girl right behind him. He gives him one last shove.
Oh.
Salter hits her and she goes flying. It depleted her. So I think
get
she was
up?
okay. She popped up.
She popped
but
up?
it wiped her out.
Emily would have been out for 2 weeks.
So that definitely made it look worse, I think, because you see her go flying behind. It was a little extra on the end. I'm with you. I don't think you probably call that in that
You can't
situation.
call it.
But at the
Right.
same time, I don't think you call that pass interference on the other side either.
Right.
So, like, both of those
Those
could have
are
been
two
game-changing
yeah.
calls.
Mm-hmm.
And both went, against the Flames there. So, yeah, it was, as a defender, that's just like, you can't do that. And I know there's a lot of John over there, and Salter was talking a lot on that
Especially to a
sideline.
He was
quarterback.
talking a lot the
He
entire
was talking
game,
a lot.
So,
So you just
chippy.
can't put yourself in that situation because half the time that probably will get a flag.
Yeah.
You know what I
In the-
mean?
in the second quarter,
Yeah.
that'll probably get a flag.
Yeah.
But
So you
not
just
at that
can't.
moment.
You just can't play that
I
close.
don't know why I'm more shocked that I'm here working on a Friday or
It
that
says
the
this is
Flames
the
pulled
only
this
way
one
to
off.
get you in
but,
here on a Friday.
I'm
Yeah,
just
I
happy to be
know.
part of this bonus podcast. Flame Center podcast
This is a
powered
bonus
by
pod.
Alcova Mortgage. Okay, you wanted to talk about the player substitution and how that affected
so
some of the timeouts.
Twice, actually 3 times it was an issue. So once in the third quarter, Flames had to burn a timeout. They burned one in the fourth quarter, and they took a delay game. I think all the same situation. And basically, that was one of our mailbag questions, was asking about that. If the offense substitutes, the
You have to
defense
allow
has an
that.
opportunity then
Yeah.
to substitute as well. Now, the thing is, and you could hear on the first one, I went back this morning, you could hear on the Nat Sound, you hear Chadwell saying, they waited. The rule, as I looked it up this morning, says the defense has an opportunity to promptly substitute as well. Well, it feels like
they're trying to run down the clock.
And the argument Chadwell was making, Sam Houston did not promptly substitute. They took their time.
Yes.
And you as the official are supposed to wait until the guy's going out, get off the field.
Yeah.
And so that's why the official's over the ball saying, you can't snap it. Well, Sam Houston maybe didn't promptly substitute, at least on a couple of those.
they're trying to hold
and so Liberty's stuck sitting there like, man, what are we supposed to do? Now, I know Pat
Salter
Kelly
was over the ball. I can't snap it.
I know
so
Pat
how am I
Kelly
gonna-
said as well, who he was on the post game with you, that Liberty maybe needs to do a better job of trying to substitute earlier in the play clock and not later. But on one of those, I went back and looked. They substituted with 24 seconds left on the play clock. That's plenty of time for
To
a defense
promptly-
to match, and they didn't. They slow played it,
Which is smart.
Smart.
And do the same thing.
Smart.
Yeah,
But you understand why Chadwell was so frustrated,
Yeah.
and it's something that like you can't have happen down the stretch of a tight game like that where you're forced to burn timeouts or take delays a game. That in that case pushed Liberty to what was already the edge of field goal range and ended up pushing them out of the scoring opportunity.
Yeah, and let's just not even talk about the field goal situation.
That was rough.
I mean, that was rough.
Better
But
straighten that up.
let's stay on the offensive side of the ball. I guess the one highlight that you come take away from this game is CJ Daniels. I mean,
it was more than
Dog.
one.
it was just so exciting.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Well, we'll get to that, Joe. I'm
right.
producing the show. So I never get to like actually be above, watching the game. I'm
Right,
like field
sideline.
level and I'm listening to two, jokers the entire time calling the game. So it was just so much fun for me this game. I'm in the Flames Club, watching all the
Living the
action.
dream.
And I am yelling because I'm inside, right? And I'm yelling, yeah, let's go. He's on my Flames fantasy team. And people are looking at me like, what is this
Yeah.
girl doing?
Why weren't you
And
in the seat?
Joe Yock is over my shoulder like, yeah, Bradley Green, he's on my team.
Oh, wait,
right?
what? You were up there
And
too?
I'm
I
like,
just stopped by saying
Oh, come
I
on!
just stopped by saying hi.
Yeah.
I'm like, Brylan Green is not on your Flames fantasy
yeah.
team,
Oh,
Joe.
yeah. Whoops.
And he's like sitting there cheering. So Joe has no idea who's on his
Yeah.
team. I'm just like ranking in the points. We'll get to the Flames fantasy standings. I have a feeling I had a big week, but it's just fun to be a part of the game in that way. You
Yeah.
have fans coming up and going up
What a
the
good time.
elevator, talking about
Great
the
time.
podcast. So huge shout out to everyone who listens and watches the show because it's a lot of fun to be on that side of things. But CJ Daniels is a dog. D-A-double-double-double-U-G.
Oh, wow. 5
okay?
catches, 157 yards, and a TD. Yeah, that's
Wow.
pretty good.
He made
I
some
mean,
plays.
that catch he laid out for, if Ken Salter threw that a little better, I think he would have been in the end
Oh,
zone.
that was a great catch.
But that was a great
Big time
catch,
catch.
and it was reviewed. I don't think that they had enough to overturn
Sam Houston
it.
lost a timeout on
That's a
that,
very good
actually,
point.
because they challenged that
You're
catch.
right.
The first one that he caught deep out of bounds, I
Yeah.
don't know how that wasn't overturned. I didn't maybe see a great look of it, but when I first saw it from the stands, I was like, well, he was out of bounds. When he landed on it, when he landed
Yeah.
on his backside,
Yeah,
was he in there?
I think he was. Yeah.
I was like, they
Yeah.
reviewed. They're going to overturn.
He
that.
made some big catches,
That-
and some
that's-
big
those-
third down catches
Well,
as well. One of those
and-
or maybe it was the Smoot one that was 3rd and 17. But
Yeah, that was a huge
Yeah.
catch.
Smooth
by
made a great
Smooth.
catch.
Yeah,
Smooth
yeah,
made a
he
great
made a great
catch.
catch.
But the CJ Daniels one where Caden Salter threw him like, it was like, I don't know, a yard or two out of bounds, but that was like,
he
man,
almost
he
brought
almost
in.
brought it
Yeah.
in and was dragging that foot. But
good deep balls.
Yep.
But what else did
Good
you
deep
take
balls.
away
Yeah,
from
what are
the
the other
offense?
highlights?
They got shut out in the second half, so that's not
I think
ideal.
I think the injuries, like they're starting to show up. At
Billy
the running
Lucas
back.
didn't dress.
Yeah,
that hurts.
You look at Blue Vaughn out. We knew he was
Yeah,
already
Von
out.
Blue, yeah.
I'm sorry, Von Blue out. Then you got Billy
Who'd he
Lucas.
call him?
Blue Vaughn. He just
Blue,
flipped.
Blue. It's my boy Blue.
Blue,
my boy.
comma.
He's not
space
your boy,
Vaughn.
Blue. You
Yeah.
dropped him.
Blue, comma, space.
Well,
Vaughn,
yeah,
exactly.
right.
And then Billy Coolhand Lucas out.
Yeah, that hurts.
Right. And then Cooley goes out.
Right.
Right. And so now,
Oh, I
okay,
was so nervous.
James Joyner was getting
so
the
now
carries.
James Joyner's getting, but how many reps is James Joyner getting in
right.
practice?
Right.
Right. And so
Ben Good, they used him a lot in
Ben
the running
Good, they
game.
started bringing
yeah.
him into the running game a lot, and he's a good player by the way.
He is.
He's really
And
good.
so that I think has to big part of like throwing your rhythm off offensively because you get stuck in what exactly we can do. But I want to give the Bearcats a shout out because that was an athletic, aggressive
They were.
defense, and you know what they were? They were grinders.
Yeah.
Like they never, it didn't matter what happened to them. You remember was the long play that CJ Daniels caught in the corner. They reviewed it. That was down on like the 3-yard line or 8-yard line, whatever it was. And you're thinking, okay, let's go in and put this thing away. Well, they stuffed them, may got a penalty, something, stuffed them. And next thing you know, they're kicking a field goal that they missed.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that
that was
defense
huge.
was 18-1. Those dudes could flat out play.
Yeah.
And they were aggressive and they stayed after you. And you got to give them a shout out.
For sure.
They played their hearts out.
Well,
They were
and-
definitely hungry. I mean,
Yeah.
coming
Well,
in
that's
0-4, and that
that's
didn't
a good
reflect.
football team.
And we
Yeah.
knew, too, going in based on early in the season, that the strength of this team looked like it was the defense. Remember, Air Force, the top
Yeah.
rushing team in the country, they held them to their season low in rushing yards. They held BYU to 14 points.
Right.
The defense, you're right. And how many times did you thought Caden Salter get out of the pocket and you go, here we go.
Yeah.
He's about to bust one. He's about to. He
And he
wasn't
gets
running
tripped
away
up.
from those
Yep.
dudes.
No.
I
There was
can't-
some speed out there on
There
that
was
defense.
some speed. I can't remember what the number one kid's name was again, but that kid, when Caden Salter broke up one time and you thought,
Yeah.
oh, he's going to beat
Yeah.
him and then go straight down the sidelines and they're in man coverage and everybody was
and that was,
gone.
I think, a third down where
It
he
was a
wasn't
third
able
down,
to turn the
and he
corner
couldn't
and
turn
pushed
the
out
corner
on the
that guy. He got
sideline.
pushed
Yep.
out. I'm like, dude, these dudes, and 18,
Yeah.
he was rushing on the right tackle, our right tackle from the left side.
Yeah.
That kid could bend.
Yeah.
He was athletic, and did you see the nickel blitz that Caden Salter They brought the nickel from his backside.
Is that the one he ducked under?
And he could have gotten smoked.
Yeah.
I don't know how he saw him or felt it.
And he just ducked under it, right?
It was one of those spider senses kind of deal where all of a sudden the hairs on the back of your neck start going up because I'm about ready to get smoked. I don't know if there's somebody there, but I'm about ready to get smoked. And that guy was running 4-4 and getting ready to kill him. And at the last second, he went, whoop.
Yep.
And he ducked it.
Wait, what was it again?
He went, whoop, whoop. Yeah. And he ducked it, and he escaped for 8 or 10 yards.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, they're
he could have been taking a little snoozy.
Also have to know Noah Frith didn't dress either.
Right,
he was
play
out.
either.
So Coach Chadwell was saying after the game how,
Gotta get healthy. Gotta get healthy. Now,
how do you get healthy in 4 days?
No, that's it. And so curious to see. Chadwell said on Frith he probably could have gone if they absolutely needed him. So maybe he'll be back Tuesday.
Maybe he would have gone if there was more time until Jacksonville
You
State
wonder
game.
about Lucas. That's the biggest question for me because we love Quentin Cooley. Third 100-yard game, I think, this season is what
197 yards.
Finally got in the end zone.
Got in the end zone. Thrill. Our buddy Dan Vollmer was texting us when he got in. That's what you wanted. Like, yes, good for Cooley. But as good as he is, having that second back that offers something a little bit different, which 100%. Billy Lucas does, is so critical. If you don't have him Tuesday, it's going to be tough. One thing I would say, as I'm thinking through it, you've seen Bedgood get worked in there. Like, what can they do to run the ball and to not just wear Cooley out, which who knows how banged up he is after coming out and not playing the whole third quarter of that game.
It looked, I don't know what the injury
like an arm.
was.
It looked like an arm.
Because he kept holding his arm.
Credit him for coming back and gutting it out. But like you wonder if a Treyon Sibley, who's been used as a running back in the past, if you could find a way to get him involved in some way in that running game, to get another body in there.
Yeah, the issue is, which makes it difficult, I'm going to only call him Blue Vaughn from now on.
Yeah, I know.
That without Blue Vaughn, right?
Yeah.
He's such a threat in the passing game. Right? And that opens up. So there's
so is Bedgood, though.
Bedgood is, but Blue Vaughn's a real running back that comes out of the backfield, and he's such a threat in the pass game. Right. And the thing with Liberty's offense is this. You got to be successful, you have to run on the ball in between tackles. Yeah. Right? And that's where Cooley's really good. Right? If you can run the ball in between tackles, you can then work the outside stuff. Then when you can work the outside option game stuff, then you can work your shots over the top. Yeah. Right? So it all fits into certain aspects. And so now they're low on numbers, and Cooley's going to get a lot of carries. Mm-hmm. And so this puts them in a little bit of a difficult situation where you got to have guys. Bedgood's not a dude who's going to run the ball in between the tackles. Right? So you got to have some guys that can do that, and Cooley's going to have to carry. I hope he's healthy, because he's going to have to carry a heavy load moving forward.
Tell us about, we've talked a lot about the depth in this running back room all season. Mm-hmm. Now we're needing it.
For sure.
But even though you have that depth and these guys that are, the 4 or 5 in that room, why is it so, how do I want to say this? Like, why isn't it just as easy as them just like filling in for these guys as far as like running the ball, like you're pass block?
I mean that's another thing. I mean, you have running backs like, and these coaches look at this, it's so huge, is pass protection. Yeah. Because now what are you going to see teams doing? If they know they get you in a 3rd and long, right? Here they come. And they're going to start bringing you. They know where to scheme them out. Okay, who's the back responsible for? Right? They know here. He's so now you got like you've got to be able to pick up pass protection. And so it just losing those guys. Be thankful you have depth there. Yeah. But losing those guys puts a lot of stress on this type of offense.
Joyner 5 carries, 15 yards. You saw he had one good run. Yeah. He's a straight line guy though.
But he's an inside the tackles guy.
Yeah, exactly. He is.
And you can live with that because you got Bedgood who can work to the outside, right? But you got Cooley. You need those inside the tackle guys, and I think Joyner's going to have to step up.
Can I talk Liberty defense just real quick?
Yeah.
I know we bragged on them. One concern, though, I have, and this was even going back to, I think, the FIU game. It was kind of a concern, and obviously it ended up not mattering that much. But as long as I've known Joe Yock and worked with Joe, he has always held true to one thing when it comes to defense. And I think this goes back to the Silver Fox, his dad Ray Yock, and what he would always say is
5th almost time winningest coach in the CFL.
Right. You would always say something to the effect of, The great defenses
100%.
are able to create pressure without bringing extra people, without blitzing. Liberty has not been able to do that. And you saw that in this game, and you saw the 2 times when they felt, and I believe they were both third down plays, we have to bring pressure, were the 2 touchdown passes for Sam Houston. They brought pressure, and they beat it. And so that's a concern for me. We're not getting the pressure with just the front 4 right now.
You got to get the pressure to the front 4. If you want to beat really good teams, you want to be a great team defensively, you have to be able to rush the quarterback with your 4 guys.
Was Body playing last night? Did he?
I believe so.
Yeah, he played.
Oh, he did. He's back. Okay, so.
Yeah. But so like, because what, especially now, is like these teams are well coached. And with the way that offensive football, throwing the football, has progressed recently in the past few years, like these quarterbacks are brought up through the 7-on-7 camps. They become really good passers, right? And if you can't drop 7 guys, right, and get pressure to your front 4, they will destroy you because it forces you to blitz. And they know where those blitzes are coming from. And that's where you get hit on big plays. If you can drop those guys and get pressure with 4, you can win a lot of football
games. Which is what Liberty
games.
was able to do last year when they had so much success early on. And that's something that we bragged about that defense. When you had guys like Darrell Johnson coming off the edge and creating that pressure, and you didn't have to bring the linebackers.
Okay, we still have a lot to get to. We'll preview Jack State in just a moment. Mailbag, you can be a part of this show. Flames Central at liberty.edu. We also have, did I say bold predictions? Flames fantasy updates. But want to give a shout out to Flames Nation. You know, Coach Shadwell said after the game that home field advantage is a real thing here on the mountain. And I feel like the crowd did play a factor in that last play, in that last drive for Sam Houston.
Last drive, they came alive. They stepped up in that last drive.
But, I mean, it is really difficult to come alive during a game as a fan if, like, your offense is, like, completely shut out in the second half. And
I think it's, but I think there's still, like, and I think we talked about.
Thursday night, Matt, can you just give.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about it some last year, too. There's that part of, like, understanding, and this is something that Liberty basketball, like, we've seen over the last year and a half, it's clicked, is a crowd kind of understanding the moments and understanding when they can be a big factor.
Make a difference.
And when their team needs them to be a big factor.
Well, 17,000, I see what you're saying about, like, they could have, you know, been
But
a
on that
little bit more.
on that last
drive and the show up in general.
Absolutely.
You know, for Thursday night, I thought was great. But yeah, we'll have Matt Warner put together a segment on when you need to come alive during which play.
I could probably do a little tutorial or something.
in his spare time. Okay, let's get to previewing Jack State. Okay. So quick turnaround.
Yeah, boy.
You know, one thing that you look at Jack State, they've had an extra day to prepare for Liberty. They played on Wednesday, came back 24-0 run over Middle Tennessee. So they are now 3-0 in the conference, tied with Liberty atop the standings. So, Western Kentucky has only played 2 conference games.
But
so
Liberty and Jack State are both 3-0.
It is
sitting at the top of the
going to be a big-time game. You even had Pat McAfee tweet out.
Shouting out Jack State.
What did he say? Jack State
McAfee.
Football is great TV every week. He is so handling.
Well, and now to be fair,
ESPN,
he played for Rich Rodriguez, their head coach at West Virginia. So he's got some ties to the program. But yes, Rich Rod leading that team, back-to-back road wins for them. And here's the thing with them. So break it down. They want to run the ball. 214 rush yards per game. They only average about 154 pass yards per game. So it's run first. They played 2 quarterbacks this year. Their original starter, they swapped him out. They went back to him in the second half of that Middle Tennessee game, Zion Webb. He bailed him out of that game with the win. Good runner, dangerous, completes less than 50% of his passes. So again, throwing the football, they haven't been dangerous to this point. But on the other side of the ball, this is a defense that can play. Holding opponents to just 17.5 points per game. They only give up 2.6 yards per carry. So we're talking about Liberty's running backs being dinged up. There haven't been a lot of yards on the ground against this team. Also, when you try to throw it on them, 10 interceptions, second in the nation only to Liberty's 11. So this is a really, really stout defense. Their only loss this year was to Coastal Carolina, but they have been really good. And in the past 2 weeks, a really good second half team.
Man.
And you know, those folks down there,
give it to me,
they love their football.
Give it to me.
It is going to be buzzing down there at Jacksonville State. They have a great fan base. They've been waiting for this. They were a proud program in the FCS.
Yes.
They had a couple years that were meh. They're on the rise. They smell blood in the water. They see this as their opportunity to punch a ticket to the Conference USA Championship game, or at least take a huge step towards that. Like, this is a huge game for them.
Wait, remind me, was it Jacksonville State in men's basketball that took down Liberty?
Well, they lost them a couple of years ago at home.
At home. Okay, that's what I'm remembering.
Is a book of knowledge.
It is
An
unbelievable.
Absolute book of
This
knowledge.
is going to be a
I will say, early in the season, Matt Warner did say this is a trap game.
This was my game to circle.
This is the game he circled.
And Joe Yock has
if
been
you-
giving
thank
Jacksonville
you.
State plenty of praise to as his sleeper in CUSA.
Thank
so
you. You heard it
we
first.
can share
Just
it. We can
to
share
remind
it.
you.
What was the preseason rankings for Jacksonville
Seventh.
State? 7.
Was it
right?
7th?
Where did you hear? Where
Wow.
did you hear it first, Matt?
I think I heard it here from Yock Talk.
Yeah, thank you.
Yock Talk, baby.
Yock Talk
Okay.
said sleeper team.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the preseason rankings, I asked our good friend Chris Vanini about that on the
Yes.
pregame show. So if
That
you
had a
missed
lot
that,
of people all stirred up.
I just posted that on my Twitter. If you missed it, our conversation, because he said a couple weeks ago that JMU was the best team in the state of Virginia and that Liberty was absent from his top 10 group of 5 teams. So
Last night
we
probably
talked
didn't-
about that.
probably didn't help much.
Didn't help.
No.
I do feel like we owe Chris an apology there because
Chris took a beating for no reason.
I know.
Right, I
well,
agree.
it's,
I mean,
I
Chris,
agree.
Chris is like, that guy's,
We all-
that
we
guy's
all know
a
that.
level-headed
agree.
thinker.
Yeah, right.
He's a level-headed thinker, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, Liberty's
Liberty
great.
hasn't
They're
played
wonderful.
anyone.
They'll get there. Don't worry.
Right. I
Right?
totally with
Everybody's
you.
hammering
You know what?
the
Not
board.
everyone's as level-headed as those of us on this program. You know
It's
what I mean?
okay.
That's fine.
I
I
was
like,
just-
you know what, though?
That's
I
what
like-
being a fan's all
I
about.
like the passionate fan
Right.
base. I like that. It's
that's
good.
what
I
you gotta
stir it
have.
up a little bit.
But are you? What's your level of concern with this Tuesday turnaround on the road against Jacksonville State?
I've been there. I played when I was playing the CFL. We had to play 3 games in 9 days.
Holy cow.
Right, and I'm telling you what, it is hard.
Yeah, he can't even run a mile now.
I can't even run a mile.
That's why.
I'm
He's still recovering.
I'm still trying to recover.
Yeah,
from that,
yeah.
Right. So yeah, I mean the turnaround it's really hard, and you're looking at you start. I was thinking about last night, like okay, what's the schedule going to look like?
Yeah.
Like today's a recovery day.
Not anymore.
Yeah,
And you're back in practice.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like so your bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a lot done today.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure they got ahead on the game plan as coaches. Like usually you don't like to do that. You don't like to
He
be.
did say that.
Yeah.
Chadwell did say that.
Yeah, you don't like to be getting ahead of it, but you have to, right? You're trying to prepare for Sam Houston State, but then you're like, man, we got a lot of breakdown to do on Jacksonville,
And even worse-
quick, and you got a game plan together.
I think that
then
played
you
a
got then
factor,
you got to
too,
break down
into
your
last
tape,
night's
but you
game.
got to correct your mistakes
Yeah.
and what you did for this game. So you're cramming a lot into a very short period of time, and you got to remember these kids they're not professional athletes.
Yeah.
They're 19 to 18 to 22 years old, and so. To get them mentally prepared to come back on a Tuesday night, it's not going to be easy.
Well, and you look at the NFL,
Yeah.
right? Because Sunday to Thursday is the same thing. But I saw Xavier Gadlin post on Twitter last night. Great win. Now I got to do a discussion post. Like these guys are
They're
still
still in class.
taking classes and doing other things that they need to do.
factor in you're traveling.
yeah.
So it's one thing if you're playing
Yeah, they'll leave on
this round
Monday.
and you're staying here. They're
Right.
leaving on Monday to go there. Jacksonville State had an extra day. They played on Wednesday this week. So that's a huge, I think.
Listen. As
You want to strike the stone or don't you,
You
Joe?
want to strike stone? Listen.
Do ya?
As when I used to complain to my dad, right, the
Yeah.
old ball coach,
Yeah.
the old
Life's
Silver
tough,
Fox.
get a
You know what he used
helmet.
to say? He
Yeah,
looks at me. He says, "Son, let me tell you something. Don't tell me how rough the seas are. Just bring the ship to port."
Yeah.
That's what he would say to me.
Or
Okay, so just find a way.
I love that.
Yeah.
Or you won't like this one as much. Though, going back to Jamie Chadwell's quote, "Don't tell me about the pain, show me the baby."
Yeah, that's a classic.
That's another way to
That's a
say
classic.
it. Yeah, that's
a
another way to
classic.
say it.
Yeah.
Yours probably
Thing has gotten
works
out of
best
control.
with all gender. The baby one, sometimes you get a little blowback on that one. So
I really like
yeah.
the port
Don't
thing.
tell
Yeah.
me how rough Liberty football right now. And the same thing they're preaching.
Yeah.
The coach they're
No
preaching,
doubt.
right? But you players right
Speak
now,
to 'em.
staff, don't tell me how rough the seas are. Just bring the ship to port.
That's good.
Jamie Chadwell did say that they are leaving later on Monday so they can use Monday as an extra practice day, which is interesting and
That's good.
I think going to obviously be beneficial to get
They'll do
one
it.
more
Yeah.
day
They'll do
of
it.
reps.
Yeah.
Don't do it, ain't worry.
Oh boy, so do we get to Flames
Hey,
fantasy?
hey, a
Do you
tight-
have
a
your
tight
bold
game-
predictions ready?
A tight game may have been better than a blowout game.
Well,
you go to a blowout game. Oh, this was easy. We're sleepwalking
all
through it.
saying,
Now
like-
it's like, hey, boys, maybe
We thought we were resting
maybe not as
starters.
good as we think we are. We still got some work to do.
Could be. We were
Right?
all hoping,
So
man,
let's
maybe
go.
you blow this thing open and you rest guys.
Yeah,
But
you're
yeah, it goes
resting
the other
no
way.
time.
They're
Yeah.
young. They're
Yeah.
young. Joe Yock played 3 games in 9 days. Bring it to
Yeah.
Port, boys.
Yeah.
Boy, that last game was bad.
Yeah, that shit coming into Port's gonna have some
It
red
was
smoke.
leaking.
Like
Yeah.
that?
It
Yeah.
was leaking. That shit was coming in sideways.
Half the boat sunk.
Yeah.
Hey guys. Okay, let's
What do you
get
want?
to bold predictions, and then Flames fantasy. Or are you ready
Okay.
for bold predictions?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Because
I can go over
Snelly
last
Boy
week.
has
Yeah.
our recap.
What's the Snell scoring system looking like?
Okay, well, first off, let's go over bold predictions, and not score, but just the people, right? I had Elijah Smoot over $150, 2 TDs. That didn't happen. Yak had 3 Cooley touchdowns. He got one.
First one.
Emily had 3 players over 100 yards and 2 picks. We had 2 players over 100 yards and 1 pick.
It
So, pretty
technically
close.
should have been 2
so
if,
yeah.
if Singleton would have had that second pick in the end zone.
In the Snell scoring system.
Okay, all right. Let's get into the Snell scoring system, okay?
Yeah, my score is
He
way
was
off.
The Snell scoring system.
he
is a
sent us
great
he
name.
did the scoring and sent to us early this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
have got to
Love
get a
this
T-shirt
shit.
for him.
9:05 our time. Remember, he's in Idaho, so it's probably like 7 o'clock his time. All right, so here's
He
what we
knew
go.
we were taping early.
Here was the prediction. Emily predicted 42-17 Liberty win.
Somebody go to Yacht Talk.
I
baby.
predicted 38-13.
Let's hear it.
Yacht predicted 24-21, but there's an asterisk.
No, don't.
And here's
don't,
no,
don't.
I'm gonna
Don't,
do
no,
it, Joe
don't
Yacht.
go there.
And this is why
Don't go there.
this is fraudulent.
No, it's not.
No,
This is a
you listen to
podcast.
me, Joe
This is a
Yacht. You
podcast.
listen to me.
I have
This
got to
is a
take
podcast.
control
It is
of
my
this.
turn.
This is
Oh
wrong.
my gosh.
You're going there.
No,
and
yes,
you're
I am.
wrong
No.
for doing it.
Here's what I
You're
want the
wrong.
nation to know.
This is a
on the
podcast.
podcast. Yak predicted 24-21.
He's wrong.
Guess what he did
You're a jerk.
as a helping host and analyst on the Flame Central Game Day show. Do you know what Joe did? He predicted 35-21 Liberty. And when Rhett McGibbon, to his credit, he's a pro's pro, called him out on it, Joe said, well, I've watched some film now, so now I really know. And Liberty will win 35-21. So which score is it, Joe? Which score is
Just
it?
let me know when you're done. You done?
I mean, people,
Are you
the
done?
questions
The
be floated
people.
around. Is Joe,
are
is
you
this,
done?
are you, is this fraudulent?
Are you
Like,
done?
what is
Are
this,
you done?
Joe?
Are you done? This is the Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage. And for any of you who want a home purchase or refinance, we are here for
And
you.
now get up the website.
We will customize
Yeah.
your mortgage loan
Yeah.
that best fits your
Yeah.
needs,
Yeah.
understand your financial situation,
Yeah.
and then we'll
version.
take great
Yeah.
care of you.
Yeah.
Back to the topic at hand. This is the
Wait,
Flame
did you
Central.
say $5,000 real cash?
$5,000.
In your
It's
pocket.
real cash.
Up to $5,000.
Liberty alumni.
Hey, we're doing one right now.
I know.
As it's live.
Yeah,
It's live
right,
action.
right.
Back to the topic at
Yeah.
hand. This is the
Things
Flame
got
Central
really
podcast
heated.
powered by Alcova
It's true.
Mortgage. I made my prediction on this. What I do on the game day central deal
Yeah.
is completely different from
Oh.
this. The score was, my prediction was 24-21.
You're a fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a 3-point difference. It was a 5-point difference in the
yeah.
game.
I just
Sign,
want to know.
seal,
how-
deliver it within the Snell scoring
I'll
system.
ask you, Emily.
End of conversation.
How confident are
End
you?
of conversation.
You're
If
fake
this
and you're a
game
fraud.
had ended
Oh,
up
stop.
35-21,
Oh, which one would he have
what do
taken?
you think he would have done?
let
He
me
would have
think
come
about
in here
that for a
saying,
second.
"Where'd you hear it first? Where'd you hear it first?"
Yeah.
we know that would have happened.
Hey, Yacht Talk, baby.
All that to
And
say,
then he would make me
Yeah.
edit out his other thing and then
stop
edit
it.
back
Stop
in
it.
Flame
Stop
Central
it.
game.
all
Anything
that to
Flame
say,
Central.
I think Joe would have won either way. So
Thank you.
I think he'd have won either way. So Joe wins. New standings. Emily
Your
3
turn,
wins this year.
baby.
Yak 2. I'm still getting shut out like Liberty in the second half.
All right, but we got Jack State coming up.
I do have 2 more mailbags.
I want
if
mailbag.
You want to go there?
I want
All right.
mailbag.
we're doing bold predictions.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
go.
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
Predictions.
bold
It's
predictions.
gonna be a battle.
Jack State has averaged 34 points in the last 3 games. In their 6, 30 points. So I'm thinking it's going to be an offensive battle in this game. So I'm going to go 42-35 Liberty.
That's a lot of
that's a
points.
ton of
Yeah,
points.
that's a lot of points.
That's a
And my
bold- that's bold.
prediction
Yeah.
with this is that every position group will score for the Flames.
Wait, you mean
except
offense, even special teams? All 3 phases?
No. I mean like wide receiver, a tight end, a running back, every position except offensive line. Sorry, big boys.
Wide receiver, tight end, running back, QB all score.
All score.
All right, that's pretty bold.
That's bold.
That the score is bolder than the. Yeah, Joe, what do you got?
Look at
you want me to
look
go?
at the points.
I can go.
Here you go.
Let me go. I'm gonna take. My bold prediction is Aaron Bedgood takes one to the hizzy. Kickoff return touchdown. Takes it to the crib. Kickoff return touchdown for Aaron Bedgood. He's been close to popping one.
Yeah.
He's had a seam. It's just. I think he takes one to the house, and I think Liberty wins 24-20. I think low
you think
scoring,
low scoring?
grind it out. That Jacksonville State defense concerns me. Liberty with the injuries concerns me. I think if they win it, it's going to be a tight game in the 20s.
I don't think so. When you look at all the
Joe?
scores. Go ahead. Okay, wait. Are you going to go on
Is this
any
for
other
this podcast, or is this your prediction for?
Just
Okay,
stop.
just make
for
that
another
clear.
one?
All right.
Are you going to go on Yacht Talk,
He's gonna- on Twitter, he's gonna put out-
AlcovaMortgage.com?
Just stop.
He's like the guy that had 6 different NCAA tournament brackets.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I
If you put
totally
them all-
picked UNBC. You're like, really? Well, yeah, my
I did
upset
20
bracket.
brackets.
Yeah.
And then if you put all 20 brackets together, I actually predicted every game.
Boy, I'll tell you what. When you guys sense that there's blood in the water,
That's right.
I mean,
we swarm.
it is
We
fence
swarm.
to the left.
You're
fence
just
to the
you're
right.
just almost too easy
It's
to pick
almost too
on.
easy.
Almost.
Okay. Okay. So here's what I'm predicting.
Okay.
Right. And I hate to say this.
Okay.
Because I'm going against my own.
Oh, man,
I'm
this
going
defense
against my
has
own,
held a lot of-
you know,
It's too late.
fantasy deal. Is CJ Daniels is going off.
Yeah.
Right. That like his confidence is soaring right
Yeah.
now, and they realize like he's the #1 guy,
Yeah.
and they got to get him the football.
Yeah.
I predict that CJ Daniels goes for 150, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it this week. I predict the Flames win a very, very close ball game, 30-28.
Can I
30,
change mine?
20. No,
30
what
to
do you
20.
mean?
I just want to
it.
change mine.
Oh, then that means that I get to do the same thing to her next week.
Yeah.
because She's already said
Okay,
it.
whatever.
Okay.
Leave it.
All right, stick with your guns.
That's ridiculous. Okay, if you want to be a part of the show, Flame Central at liberty.edu. If we use or like your question, Matt may or not send
Yeah.
you a
He'll
Flame
send
Central.
you.
I've been
I don't know
sending
where our mugs are.
Yeah, where are
See,
they?
we
Oh,
have
yeah.
Doug. Doug is
Doug's-
usually behind the
he's
scenes
out of
for
the
us,
country.
and he's out of the country.
Yeah.
He's just
We
completely
missed our mugs.
disregarded
That's all right.
our mug situation. But we'll send you one if you're a part of the show. Mailbag.
Yeah, mailbag. I think
We
we
have one more
actually
topic. to discuss.
we actually pretty much covered it
No,
all.
no, no.
Although I do want to say our good friend Jenny said the pre and post game show top notch. She loved it, impressive on all fronts. She said she missed seeing you in the banana suit, but the guy in the banana suit was there
And
That-
Mountain Dew suit.
in a Mountain Dew suit.
That guy was solid.
Oh, you talked to him?
Yeah, well, I didn't talk to him.
Oh, okay.
But
Oh.
but I saw him on the thing, and
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's a good banana man right
Right.
there. He was an
Right.
outstanding banana man.
Right.
And I was a little bit worried
Yeah.
that he wasn't going to be there, and then I had to put on the suit.
Yeah.
On a side note,
Yeah.
Yacht Talk did feed the student section.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. You know, they give us the box lunches.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't really want my box lunch, and so I was going down the thing, and the fans were grappling for it,
Yeah.
and so we
you
threw
just
it.
threw it into the wow.
We gave
Man
it to it.
of
We
the
gave it
people
for the people with the people.
Okay,
All right.
this is a picture of the halftime set. Can you see it? Can we zoom in?
I think they know
Look
what it
how
looks like.
beautiful.
That's a gorgeous.
I just want to
Great
say,
crew
and I
last
know
night.
that I'm part
Reggie
of,
was great.
Awesome.
Love
Great
Reggie.
crew
Like,
last
Reggie and I
it-
hung out the whole night.
night. He's
It is
great.
unbelievable how I
around.
never
Yeah.
get to talk on this
Yeah.
show.
We
And so
palled
it's
around.
Great guy.
so
He came up to
unbelievable.
us. He
Yeah.
got him a plate of food. Hung
Yeah.
out. He's a great guy.
Great guy.
Cool.
You
You done? Okay.
anything else?
No, I just wanted to say, I was in the middle of a sentence when you guys went off on your bro talk, but when I was like walking around the cabanas and like all around the stadium, it was so cool. The pregame show was just on all the TVs. Like it looked so legit. And I don't
It
know,
was legit.
just the coverage. Shout out Rhett McGibbon, the whole crew.
Had a lot of fans stop by and talk to us. Talked with freshman linebacker, redshirt freshman Caden Callahan's folks. Huge fans of the podcast, come from the Atlanta
Thanks for
area.
listening.
Big fans, appreciate them listening. Talked to them for a while. It was great. Talked to a whole bunch of people that just love the podcast and everything we're doing, and they, they're always asking
Was there
about
any
Joe.
other mailback questions?
No, that was it.
Well, it was a quick turnaround, but
Yeah.
we will have another podcast.
Oh yes, actually,
on
hold on.
Wednesday.
Oh
Oh, wait,
we did
while
have
he
one. We did
gets
have
to
one.
that,
Yeah.
if you want to know where you can watch a Flame Central game day, it's for only home games. We're going to put a push on road games in the future, but for now, it's just home games. It starts an hour before kick. You can catch that on Facebook Live. I think it's streaming on Twitter, correct?
Twitter,
And
Facebook, YouTube Live.
YouTube Live, yeah.
on
So
the
be
Liberty
sure to
Flames
check that
accounts.
out. It's great coverage. Did they mic up a player this week?
They did Quentin Reese. They talked to him.
Quentin Reese
Oh,
was
yeah.
mic'd
I thought it
up
was Quentin
pregame.
Reese.
Yeah.
The guys on the desk
You know what I
have
asked
great
Quentin Reese?
insight, and then Matt Warner or I get to
forget-
talk
oh,
to some
you-
of
you
the
said-
coaches before the game.
Interception or sack, right?
Yeah, I
That's
said,
what you
no,
asked
no.
him.
I said, would you rather have? I said, they had him live on the field. He's stretching, right? I was a little worried. His earpiece thing fell out.
yeah.
But he had, I guess he had one in the other ear too. But I asked him, if you had your choice, would you rather come off the hash and just high point a ball and make a great interception, or would you rather just absolutely lay the smack down on somebody and just start foot stomping?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Just start foot stomping. And which one do you think he picked?
The pick.
Yeah, he said, I
Yeah,
want
the
the pick.
pick.
Pick
yeah.
changes game.
He wants the Joker mask.
Last question, or it's not really, I guess a question. This comes to us from our friend Sam. ESPN, this was before last night's game, put out the best odds in college football.
Yes.
A team going undefeated the rest of the way.
yes.
And Liberty had the best odds
did.
of running the table and going undefeated in all of FBS. Michigan second, Air
Attaboy,
Force third,
Sammy.
Georgia fourth.
Attaboy,
Liberty,
Sammy.
before last night,
Attaboy, Sammy.
21.2% chance of going undefeated.
I bet not after last night's going to change.
I'd be interested to know. But at the same time, you also have one less game to win. You know, it's binary.
Yep.
Do you think that is? What do you think about that? I think that's.
I think it's legit.
It's based. I mean, it's
Yeah.
based on the schedule,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Based
you
on
got Georgia
100%.
on here. You've got
Yeah.
Oklahoma on here. They play Texas this
Yeah.
week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I
like,
think it's legit.
it's based
Yeah.
on the schedule. I think that they do have the best chance.
They had the best shot.
I wouldn't wager on
Hey,
it, but
hey.
that's a tough thing to do.
Just on a little side. Well,
Yeah.
Emily, can I do one more thing?
Sure.
Can we do?
I mean, I have no control over this
Can
show
we
whatsoever,
do?
so.
Can we just say who would you say your player of the game was?
Who was your player of the game,
Can I go
Joe?
first?
Yeah.
Can I go first? I'm gonna tell you what. When you coach the corner position, you got to tell those dudes, and you got to find corners.
What just happened? Did
He's
just
completely
flipped a switch here?
I know because
You got to find a corner.
Is this for your social media? Is this
No,
is this
he's
what
he's gonna
this
ask us
is?
to clip it off.
I'm not gonna ask you to clip this
Okay.
off. This is just. This is from the heart.
Oh yeah, it seems like.
I just want to speak from
Yeah,
the heart.
right. Just this is all.
You know,
just,
I like to compete.
impromptu.
I'm a
Yeah,
competitor.
yeah.
I'm
This
not,
ship has
All right,
completely
Joe,
sunk.
we're-
No,
We're-
listen
this
to
has
me.
been
Taking
really
on
This
water.
is the problem. Let me finish.
All right, start over.
When you coach a corner position, right, you got to find guys that are willing to get beat on plays
Yeah.
and then turn around, forget about it, erase it from your memory. That's what every great corner does, and then compete. Kobe Singleton got beat for that first touchdown.
Yep,
Right?
he did.
Oh, what's going on here? Could he put his head in the sand? And be like, oh, then now you come down to the end of the game when it all counts, and they go 1, 2, 3 to him.
Yep.
And we got a break up almost pick. The play that he made on the slant where he came over the top, that's a hard play not to pass interference, where you get pass interference calls. You got to go through the dude to punch out that ball. And then here's the key to that play. And my brother Jimmy was at the game. He was a scout.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, Jimmy was there.
Why didn't Jimmy
Jimmy
come
boy.
by?
Jimmy
Yeah,
was there.
we had a moment
and
there.
right after the game, Jimmy said, "I'm gonna tell you what, that Kobe Singleton kid, when it was all on the line, Jimmy said that he didn't just make the play. As a guy who's looked at thousands upon thousands of players, you realize he said, I saw one thing. He never panicked. It was I got this under control. I don't have to overdo it. It was just get your hand in between, boom, knock it out, make the play and didn't panic. Kobe Singleton to go 1, 2, 3 like that became the Liberty top 5 within one game, within just that game of all time, dogs of all dogs.
Top 5 of all time in that one game.
For a single game.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
somebody rushed
Well,
for 250
I-
yards,
right,
they're
I
a
got
dog.
you. Okay, I got
Malik
you.
Willis was
Okay.
a dog for whatever
Okay,
game.
okay.
So we got
Okay, dog.
Buckshot Johnson, dog. That's a top 5 dog moment.
Okay, well, I don't know if Joe heard anything
Let me
that
tell
I
you
said
something.
earlier in
Let
the
me tell you
game,
something. Let me tell
but the maturity that he is speaking to right now, I've already discussed with Chadwell's post-game quotes about how much
Okay,
he's
can we just get a
matured
Flames fantasy league?
after
This
the pass
podcast has
interference
lasted too
call. Because usually Chadwell said that would have wrecked him, and he got back out there, wiped that from his slate, and then made the game-winning play. So.
Can we wrap things up with the Flames Fantasy League?
Please, I have lost complete control of the show. Like,
And we have full control of this show.
Go
It's
ahead,
just
Matt. No,
chaotic
seriously.
Control.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with chaotic control.
controlled chaos.
Controlled chaos.
You can't control a hurricane.
Hurricane Emily. I've searched
All right, Joe this week. It was tough. This was a season low. 8.7 points. His leading scorer was Treyon Sibley with 3.7. Obviously, Frith didn't play. So Hanshaw wasn't as involved in the pass game. So he has 111.6
Where's
points.
my boy Quentin Reese at?
Quentin Reese had one of his better games in terms of tackles, but it was still
I
only
definitely
3
did the
points.
wrong score prediction.
Then Emily.
She killed it.
This might be the best week we've ever seen in fantasy.
This is perfect.
67.1 points. Quentin Cooley, 17.5. CJ Daniels, 24 points. Brylan Green got an interception. Brandon Bishop, who she just picked up, had probably his best statistical game. She now has 184.5 points. She is your new leader. I'll just cut to the chase.
Let's go!
I had 20.
Let's go!
Okay. I had 24 points. Jerome Jolly led the way for me. Obviously, Billy Cooley and Lucas not playing didn't help. I have 180.5. So Emily with a 4-point lead.
It feels so good. It feels.
Enjoy it now. Enjoy it now.
All right, this. Okay, yeah, maybe you can pick a fantasy team for the Flame Central game day. Thanks so much for listening or watching.
Hey, what's that website you go to if you want to get a mortgage loan?
Oh, boy.
There's no chance anyone's still listening at this point.
alumnicommunity.liberty.edu.
Oh, man, go there.
Send us your questions.
Yeah, mailbag flamecentral@liberty.edu.
Also, remember, we won't be on Monday next week. I know
No
we had
Monday.
2 podcasts this week. That's not
Wednesday.
normal. We will be on Wednesday morning following the huge showdown, Liberty Jack State.
Yeah, and then maybe we'll do a yacht talk on next week's show.
How'd you like that?
I'll pray about it.
do
All right. For
Chain it
Joe
up.
and Matt,
Chain it up,
I'm
let's
Emily.
pray. Yeah.
Thanks so much for listening and watching. We'll see you Wednesday. Have a great weekend.
Woo!